question for Ms. Tulloch. I was curious what your advice was when it comes to either creating or strengthening a brand image, and then also if you felt like you had ever seen common areas where people either underutilize or even improperly utilize means of promoting brand messaging.
Sure, I'll talk to you about our new True brand. This is a brand that Hilton recently created, and you talk about rapid prototyping. We went from just an idea of what we wanted a new brand to be to actual rollout in less than 2 years, which is unheard of in the industry. And I think this is a brand right now that we had to really solidify its place in the market. There's so many different segments of the market, and the swim lanes are so tight that it's really difficult to stand out. And so to solidify our marketing plan and what we are doing with this brand, we had to go after and believe very firmly that this prototype is going to be a prototype that is not going to change. This is a differentiator. It's going to have limited services to the guest. It's going to be small in scale, and we're very specific about the markets it's in. We're not allowing anybody to convert into that brand. You're going to build it the way it is. We've customized the artwork and things like that for different parts of the country, but the brand is what it is. And I have seen other hotel companies where they launch a new brand and they're not firmly establishing themselves in the market they're in because they have no plan. It's, hey, we built rooms, people are just going to show up. And that's not really the case anymore. The competition is really tough. So I would say to you, my advice is, with whatever it is that you're launching, believe in it. Make sure you have the right target audience or target market, and stand behind it and don't waver. Otherwise, you're going to fail.
Good morning. Again, Orlando Dorsey, D.H. Lloyd & Associates. My question is for Charles. What do you think the true future of blockchains are, and is everybody going to move towards that realm as a way of doing business?
So the future of blockchain. So just for those who don't know what blockchains are like an electronic ledger, right? So you go to a bank, you write your transaction down and they keep them. And the way we do banking and money and things like that today is you've got a central place, right? The bank does that and they take care of that. Blockchain is a way which you can establish trust, right? And know that, something happened, this person does indeed have this resource or this whatever exchange you're trying to do, and it's captured, and then everybody sees it. So everybody sees it, everybody knows who has it, and there are things, people now are doing mining, so there's encryption, there's all kind of stuff. So look up blockchain, plenty of stuff to find out there. So I personally think that blockchain does have a future. I think it's going to, my 2 cents, right? So I'm looking at my crystal ball. I think that, I think the use of it is going to be much different than what people think today. Right, like most technology, I think it's going to get used different. I think it has a place. I think that I think people should study it and understand and find out what, along with blockchain, what is the function of it, and then how do I integrate some things that I do well with that to make a product or something that people would want.
So you think it's going to grow and it's going to expand?
It's going to grow and expand. I think it's going to be the broader use of it is going to be. It's going to be more broad than what it's used for right now, which is cryptocurrencies. I think it's going to find its way in a lot of other ways in which we do business or interact.
And so you think Bitcoins are going to be around as well?
I think cryptocurrencies are going to be around.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, my question is for Dr. Terrier. My name is Celeste Chamberlain. I'm with Information Protection Solutions, a cybersecurity firm. I'm a huge fan of NASA programs. I feel like I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson's #1 fan. I love learning about space. But I've read different articles about quantum engineering and that we could use quantum engineering to enhance encryption algorithms. And so my question is, I want to know if NASA has a program to look at how space science can influence computer science, and specifically quantum engineering influencing encryption algorithms.
That's a very, very good question. So for I don't know how many in the audience are familiar with this, but there's a whole new field of quantum computing, quantum encryption, that relies on the undeterministic nature of quantum phenomenon. So the short answer is yes, NASA has programs in that. Very much like Charles said in the defense space, our communications in space, our commands that we send to spacecraft have all got to be high integrity. Human lives at stake in many cases are very high value assets. And so we're very interested in maybe a slightly different application, but maintaining the integrity of that comm signal. And one of the areas we are working on is in using what's called QKD, quantum distribution of keys, of encryption keys. So that's one area we're using it. We're also looking at quantum computing to solve some of the many complex problems that we have that are facing us in the future. And it's one of the areas that is, again, so disruptive and promises to have many orders of magnitude more capability than today's computers that it's even hard to describe the potential there.
Thank you.
If I could add, though, also on the quantum computing, I think that's very fertile ground for research and distinguishability. So when you look at things like control, can I do things like control, things like that with that? None of that work has been done yet because the field is so new. And I'll tell you, like down University of Maryland, College Park, not a graduate, but they're doing some good work down there. They're doing a lot of quantum computing work. And so anyway, that's a nice, good, fertile field to be in.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take 2 more questions.
Hi, my name's Cindy McKeever. I'm with Northrop Grumman Global Supplier Diversity Program. And the question's more geared towards something that Charles said, but I would also like for the rest of the panel to answer. You said that when you have your suppliers or someone calling you and there's hundreds of phone calls that you receive, you're looking for discriminators. And I just wanted to know if you could expand on what you have decided or what you determined to be that discriminator that gets you to call that person back or gets you to actually listen to what they have to say, and it's not just another spiel.
I'll take that because I do get hundreds of calls from suppliers every day trying to get into Hilton. I think for me is I need to find out their motivation. Some people just think of Hilton dollar signs. You know, they're not really wanting to partner with us. They just want a steady stream of income coming in. So I think for me is I need to find out their motivation and why they're calling, for one. And 2 is I look for companies that, you know, obviously your ticket in the game is you're going to deliver and you've got a great reputation and all those things. I mean, we expect that. But I look for companies that are going to not only partner with us, they may have a current product today that we may want to use, but that they're innovating it, they're thinking ahead, that they're implementing and thinking about new technologies, and that 5 years from now they're going to call me again and say, hey, we've done this other great thing that you haven't thought of. And so that's my discriminator.
So I'll say from NASA's perspective, of course, we get a lot of calls too. We do have a very active program in trying to ensure that matchmaking, like what we're talking about today, is done well. And in fact, Rick is over here at the NASA table, and Deborah Johnson, our Director of Procurement, is here. And we certainly invite you to go talk to them. We have a lot of resources that are out there, both on our website and our small business and procurement websites, to ensure that you can connect your skill set with what we really need. And by the way, I should point out, we tend to talk a lot about the science and engineering and cryptology and all those things that you think of when you think of NASA. But we build test stands, we maintain facilities, we have transactional subcontractors. So they're the entire gamut of skill set that we need. The one thing I will say is that it's important to develop that relationship with our team, because we'll put out a sources sought maybe a year or 2 ahead. And by the time you see something in Fed Biz Ops, people have probably already made those relationships. So we really need to, a lot of what Emmett said, you need to build those relationships. And we're here and we want to reach out and make sure those are available to us today.
So
Okay.
relationships, collaborations, thanks for the question, Cindy. Relationship collaborations are all good. I will say one company, I'll give an example. They have this nice innovative tool that will save us time in our processes and things like that. So we're working together with them. That's something that was unique. Not everybody else had it, and that wasn't their main part of their business. But they did have something. It was like, oh, tell me about that, and that started a conversation. So that was a discriminator for them. So they didn't know. So I would say, don't assume that you know what people need, but talk about the things that you have. That might distinguish you.
Okay, our last question, Frank.
Thanks, Sharon. I'm Frank Kelly. I'm with Baltimore Gas and Electric Exelon Corporation. And my question is to either Northrop Grumman or NASA. I'm aware of Lockheed Martin. Northrop Grumman. The reason why I said Northrop Grumman, I'm familiar with a program that they have at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, the BW Tech program, which is an incubator for entrepreneurs. And I want to find out, Lockheed and NASA, do you have similar programs like that that you can offer to entrepreneurs?
And let me take the opportunity to note that CRMSDC and MBDA Center have the largest government contractors in the world. That's why we have both Northrop and Lockheed.
Yeah, again, we have, and again, I would invite you to visit our table over here. We can talk to you more about those resources. But we have actually very formal mentoring relationship that we've developed. It's been very successful for us, not just to do the matchmaking, but to provide that mentoring, particularly small businesses that they'll come in. Often they come in as a sub to one of our major contractors, and they'll work their way through that as they mature and then become a prime for NASA. But we do offer a very successful mentoring program that I think will help you get through those weeks.
All right. So as a representative of Lockheed Martin, I'm just kidding. But I would say Robin Snyder, she's here. She's somebody that you would want to talk to. So she's on the board. So she's here. She's involved. She's connected. She's somebody that you would want to talk to. We've worked together many years with small businesses and to help them. One of the things that we do, so Mr. Smith talked about other people's money. So we can be a good partner for things like small business innovative research, right? So when you're doing work with, say, the Navy or someplace like that, we work with the Navy. We can go in as an honest broker and say, you know what, we can test and see, during phase 1, is this feasible? During phase 2, does it implement? And then phase 3, when we're looking at translation, able to get that done. So I think that we certainly have a number of ways in which we can, that we do work with small businesses, and certainly Robin would be the best person to talk to. So if you came to me, I'm gonna send you right to Robin because she knows all the answers.
Okay.
Could I offer just a closing thought on that? I think it's typical for us to kind of do that match with the world as we see it today, kind of a static cut at what's going on today. Carlotta made a really great point about you have to be sort of ahead of the game to keep your brand in the forefront, right? That's certainly true in Lockheed Martin's world and NASA's world. I think all of our suppliers, this is the challenge for all of us, whether we're in the technology space or service space, is, again, this idea of particularly artificial machine intelligence that's disrupting every facet of life, every facet of culture. It's happening, the velocity of technology, the acceleration of technology is something that we need to come to grips with. It used to be that you could be good in a particular space and that might last you for a career, might even last you for a generation. That is no longer going to be true because those disruptions are going to come faster and faster as we introduce more automation, more technology into the space. So the posture of always being in a learning mode and being ahead of the curve is one that we all really need to get our arms around.
That is an excellent closing. Excellent closing. I don't know if there's any place else on the earth today that sits on a stage this much knowledge and expertise. And so I feel very honored, and I've learned a tremendous amount, and I'm excited. And I hope that you walk away from this conversation understanding that the future is now, and that you have the opportunity with the companies that we have in place today for the corporate roundtable, which will be next, to figure out or to begin the conversation around how do you begin to position your companies for the future. So I hope you found this of value. That is our #1 priority. So thank you very, very much.